Tonight, we have Lisa Roulard and Natalie Taylor. We're going to start with Natalie tonight. Natalie has books for sale back here, Eden's Edge, which came out from Finishing Line Press in 2014. Natalie, as she says, leads a writerly life and relishes poeming in her garden. Man, we should all be verbing like that, shouldn't we? She has a BFA in English with creative writing emphasis from the University of Utah. Her poem, Last Day of July, was published in Ellipsis and was a co-winner of the 2000 Academy of American Poets Prize. And in 1998, she took second place in the Creative Nonfiction the Utah Arts Council Original Writing Competition. And I can't wait to hear these poems. I've read some online. It's going to be fantastic. You're going to read from the book. You got new stuff. Oh, fantastic. Natalie Taylor.
Thank you. Hi, this is awesome. I can't believe all the happy faces I'm looking at tonight. So thank you all for coming out. I know some of you had babies that needed sitters and all sorts of things, and it's just really nice that you chose to spend your time with us tonight. And thank you, Joel, so much for inviting me to be part of the Salt Lake City. Completely enthralled. Thanks to Joel. He is completely dedicated to this writing community, and he invites some of the best writers in the whole nation here. So I'm just honored to be part of it. And Joel is a really great poet himself. I got to see a joint show gallery with him with the artist Dave Hall, and of course Joel's poems at I can't remember the name of the gallery. It was beautiful. So he's a great poet, and it's been a pleasure to listen to him as well. I'm triply excited tonight to read with Lisa. 3 years ago, Lisa and I met at the steps of Alta Lodge at the Writers at Work conference, and she was brand new in town and said, I'd love to start a writing group, and ever since then we have been working together and meeting every month and helping each other out and supporting each other through thick and thin, good and bad, and I really have so much respect for her as a talented poet and a fierce editor. Her opinion means more than almost anyone else, and she was instrumental in helping me finish this book. And she's a dear friend, so I'm very, very happy about being here tonight. I'm going to read a little bit from the book, and then I'll read a couple of new poems. I'm going to start with a poem that is dedicated to Ronald Brown. Ronald Brown was a World War II vet who stepped on a landmine in 1944. And when he returned home from the war, he thought he had a bullet in his knee. And after he died, his family had him cremated, and they went to the crematorium and said, hey, did you find that bullet? And the folks at the crematorium handed the family a bag full of metal. So this is out of ash, 6 ounces of shrapnel for Ronald Brown. Oh, there's one word that is fugasse, and it's French for landmine. 1, no one told me about fugasse. I didn't think to ask. 2, that morning, walking across a meadow near Moselle, mist clung to the trees like smoke. Frost gave way, melting under Queen's leather. Another step, I'm swimming in fire. Iron eels lunge, teeth burrow through red spittle in my mouth, eyes then blue, then white. Black eels burrow into my knee like it was coral, bedding into the dark caves of sinew and marrow. Fire eels eat muscle, their backs breach the surface of my skin, roiling under again, grinding nerve against nerve, until the pain is an electric wave, undulating, heavy and fanged. 3, one leg weighs more. I can't bear bouncing children on me bum knee. On cold days, the eels drag their teeth over cartilage until the current shrieks like airport alarms. And after they burn my flesh and bones, they find that swarm still warm. So the next poem is an erasure poem, and that really is the act of literally erasing existing text to create something new. And it's often really visual, so Jen Bervin is a poet, she's most well known for this, and she literally cross-stitched Shakespeare's sonnets to create her book Nets. Sometimes you have the original text, it's grayed out or ghostwritten, so you can see how the original text and the new text sort of inform each other. Eden's Edge is loosely based on the idea of the earth as the Garden of Eden, so it made sense to me to do an erasure poem of the creation story from the Holy Bible. Be fruitful, subdue. Seventh-day herbs rain upon face of man. A river became 4 heads, gold and onyx. Dress it and keep it, help meet. Sleep made a bone naked. A serpent sewed fig leaves. Art, bring forth sorrow. Flaming sword, keep the way. The not forgetting. Quince in bloom, a friend gave himself the gift of elephant bones, exhumed a cow from the zoo. His hair shocked white, the hard work of joy. He adorns her burial mound with stuffed animals. Children gather, lift to a skip. Look up from your books, he waves, as Alice, let's say her name is Alice, dances her bone dance. Now he dreams with her bones in his front yard. He dreams of Savannah. He dreams of trumpeting. He dreams of Baobab. When I turned 6, my mother gave me the gift of an elephant ride. I floated between a continent, her ears. In the photograph, I'm waving how far she could take me. I have not earned my joy yet. Swaying, I lumber toward my thorny bush. Hooded crocodile eyes lit with the unholy glow of false remorse. Measure memory's heft in ivory. See where the crosshatchings, that which has been given, that which has been taken, intersect in dark angles. So the next 2 poems assume the voice of tomatoes in the garden. And there's 2 types of tomatoes, an indeterminate and a determinate. An indeterminate tomato bears fruit all season long, and a determinate tomato is like a canning tomato, so it's got that one shot. So we're going to start with indeterminate tomato. Left to myself, unpruned vines wander laden along the soil. Mid-season, I languish with the weight of waiting, sprawl propped with bungee cords. At Belladonna's signal, I put out that pungent tang, slug-slick coffee grounds growing old with lemon rind. Take your time pinching my green pearls. I'm spinning sun to gold. Stars swell to fruition one at a time like Eponymous golden apples. Green tunics lined with gold dust flutter about my knees. I tease out harvest, courting bees at the bee balm. You think I have no more to offer? Long race to summer's end. And then her sister, the determinant, hussy, is going to say this. Determinant tomato. For you, I break the cage. Overtake the kale. One chance, be splendor. Split me until your seeds line your lip. Adrift. Faint skunk over fireweed and monk's hood. Dawn's afterglow blinks a blinding code on Silver Lake. This early stillness is motion. That code changing direction again. Under the V of a duck's wake, rainbow trout graphs speed. Surging up, it risks thinned flight, breaks the surface, hot on the trail of dragonfly, blue, black, transparent, misses, begins the inevitable descent. Moments in limbo, I reach for what I cannot, an omen in cloud. Sunlight speckled on potgut's back, some clear sign that sun and air and fish and lake can read, but not me. Water arcs off scales into refracted light, missing once again, falling again into the dank comfort of familiar sorrows where the code, illuminated to high sheen, says now, jump now. Then it is just the lake. So I don't know about you, but I'm pretty freaked out about the weather, global warming, and the fact that there is no snow. So I'm going to read a winter poem, and it's going to be my version of a snow dance. Hopefully we'll get some snow. Winter squash. Goshawk circles, eyebrows stark as January, just as mad. Hunger her hollow muse. Cloud gliding, she is searching for a flash of yellow, tasting storm's ire. I am not wintering well. Snow crust sinks like limp rind with each step. I fill the weathered feeder with black seeds to entice warblers. Break holes of daily tasks, no meat. Last butternut plated, untouched. No lover levitating from the dishes. Rising above pines in a single searing arc, her scarlet eye on fat sparrows, my famished heart. Since it feels more like spring, we're gonna have a little springy poem. Mushrooms Redemption. The month it rained after a 7-year drought in the high desert, secret hopes don their beige caps like prayers, begin their improbable thrusts through dank loam to stand spongy and fluted, guarding the monarch drawing its wings. And the last poem I'm going to read from this book was dedicated to my daughters, and since my little one is here. Peonies. Daughters, no grapes. When you are crushed, when your skin splits, you become fine vintage. Only after you have been undone will you swirl. Daughters, riot of hot pink peonies, do not squander your time in the sun. Lift on your new legs before your petals lose their freeborn flush. Daughters, blaze in a sea of fire opals. Bite violet's white lip and tongue honey. Be audacious as robin eggs, the wild Irish sea. So I'm going to finish with a couple that are new. I've been doing more narrative work lately, so these are a little bit longer. Bear with me. Minutair, Nebraska. We have lemon drops and beer, and so far we're ahead of the storm. Mile after mile, railroad ties slide in forlorn piles next to the tracks as if it took too much energy to stay put. A coyote jumps for a mouse. Pheasants brighten. November snow sugars the tops of cows. Acres and acres of freeze-dried sunflowers. I am helping my friend go home, which sounds better than it really is. Her second marriage ended like the first, and her daughter is with her father in Arizona, and my friend left both for Minnesota during a polar vortex. Somewhere near the Badlands, kamikaze birds rise from camouflage to flap madly at the snow, staring at the last minute to the fields. Flock after flock after flock of northern rough-winged swallows ascend from safety in dark clouds, frantic and disoriented. Have they ever seen a car? The last bird of each flock tips at the last minute to float sideways over the top. The first bird careens into the windshield, thwack and smear. I assure myself it couldn't possibly happen again, not twice. What's the protocol? My brother would stop, my friend says, gather feathers and eat the bird to honor its spirit. But the shoulders of this 2-lane highway are iced. So 2 white women on the Rosebud Indian Reservation in a white Subaru with packages of Creminelli whiskey salami and bruschetta cheese wrapped in brown paper keep flying along. 2 divorces each, young daughters, lovers out of reach. As we mow through the flocks, the second bird thuds against glass. Green guts, brown organs, down low. How many deaths in one day? And like those foolish birds that opt for flight over security, I think of the time a lover and I were knitted together, tucked in the velvet insides of a long-necked gourd waiting out the rain. Thunder revving like an engine. The first time, no one could blame me. Sheer numbers alone, hundreds, one windshield. The second time, I knew better, knew it would stick. I should have swerved, slowed down, anticipated the waves of panic that dart and weave. I've already taken too many wrong turns, and we're running out of time. My friend finds a burned white votive in her backpack, balances it on the dashboard, and lights it. We say a prayer, ask for forgiveness, at 60 miles per hour in a ground blizzard in Sioux Lakota country. After, there are no more flocks. We are left with 2 smears that glow blue as the sun sets. The sky, electric pink, then purple, eliminating the price of every choice we've made. This is my last one. It's a little insight into my dark sense of humor. So, depending on the composition of the audience, this is either horrifying or hilarious. We'll see how it goes with you guys. If you don't count, my cat, 22 and senile, wakes me up every morning by doing laps, jumps over my head like a small panther stealing dreams, crop dusting me with farts that reek of leaking bile, lands with a oomph, jumps off one side of the bed, humps, prowls around the foot of the bed until one of the remaining claws snags on the carpet, frees herself, heaves up. She weighs ounces. How can she be so loud? Over my head, 4:30. The house is her litter box. Gray feces squish between my toes when I walk in the dark. If you don't count vomit and the tumor, hard as a line between her breasts, she shows no age. Glossy black fur, eyes yellow as a reason. She still surprises me. Wrecked bones, shattered moth wings, a squirrel's tail. I tried to kill her. One morning, waking to rotten stench of that tumor, shit in the bathtub, I put her in my car, drove to the dog park, carried her to the tunnel under a grove of wheat trees, and threw her into the heart of the shadows. I went home to rest. It rained then, of course, and the first real cold of fall. So I took a can of food and sat under the cottonwoods watching a pierced kid in black latex throw frisbees for her retriever. When it missed, the dingy fangs clicked into place. The next night, I put salmon in gravy right next to the first can, dried now and untouched on the side of the cement, called her name into the black tunnel. The third night, I brought bumblebee solid white albacore. Recited, kids, I'm really, really sorry. I know how much you loved her. It was after midnight before I heard her trilling from across the other side of the street like some dark diva that had just landed from a quick trip to Thailand and couldn't wait to tell me about the appalling sleeping conditions. Hungry, but otherwise completely intact. If anything, more alive. Thank you so much.